Everyone, I hope you're doing well. I know I usually do PvP videos, but today I thought it was pretty interesting because we had the Gigantamax raids released, and I know a lot of people find it quite hard, myself included. So I want to break down a really simple way of taking down Gigantamax raids without having to power up anything. Stardust, super valuable resources, candies on top of it can be very valuable for some people as well if they don't have enough accumulated over the years. And so I'm going to show you the strategy I use to not spend any Stardust and complete Gigantamax raids. Now, a few disclaimers here. I didn't solo this. I need a decent amount of people to help me still, right? But this is obviously not much of a tutorial for people that have no one to do Gigantamax raids with, or even just like a couple people, 5 to 10. It's going to be a struggle if you don't spend any Stardust. I'll just be clear on that. Now, if you're running somewhere around like 15-ish to like 20-something people, right, and not everyone has stuff powered up, this is a really great way to contribute to these Gigantamax raids without having to power up anything and to still have a pretty high chance of success. Now, a few things to start off is I haven't done too much Dynamax prior to Gigantamax. I did a few like Squirtle, Charmander, Venusaur here or there, no more than 3 really. And so I don't even have a bunch enough for all, super effective type effectiveness for the Charizard, Blastoise, Venusaur, Gigantamax. That being said, going into this specific stream recording, the only thing I did for Gigantamax prior to this was a Gigantamax Venusaur. And I just had 2 Charizard and like a Phalanx or something. That was it to use. None of them were powered up. And I used some of this strategy, but I didn't fully understand what was going on. Luckily, there was enough people to help take it down. Now, the Gigantamax Blastoise right after was much harder. There were maybe less people doing it, but also I think it's just maybe harder to do than Venusaur anyway. So let's get into the footage, and I'll tell you the strategy I utilize, especially if you have some extra people to help you. So as we're in the loading screen here, this video is on 2x speed, obviously. So just be warned on that. You can see I have 2 Blastoise and a Venusaur. What I did is, you can see the CP, I didn't power them up at all. I just evolved them. I didn't even spend TMs on it. So this thing has Ice Beam, which is resisted. And so the main thing is you want to look at the meter right there on the very top, the max meter. Once you get to that, you can use a Gigantamax or Dynamax Pokemon. Now, here's a key factor. Once it started getting ready for it, there's a countdown. And during that countdown, you want to swap to the Pokemon you actually want to use for the damage, right? So you can see here, I brought 2 Pokemon to soak up damage, which is just 2 Blastoise. And they're going to take resisted from pretty much everything that this Blastoise could throw, except for Skull Bash. But this thing doesn't have Skull Bash. I think it had Flash Cannon. So I'm just spamming out moves. Obviously, this Ice Beam is not going to do much. But again, Gigantamax, the Dynamax meter fully up, the max meter, and now I'm able to bring in my Gigantamax Venusaur. Obviously, like I said, I caught this from earlier, the Gigantamax raid I did right before this. And you get 3 max moves off every time, right? You can see that. So I did this pretty much with Charizard, just a regular Dynamax Charizard instead of Gigantamax one, because I didn't have one when I did the Venusaur. But now you can see I'm into the Blastoise. And the whole point of this Blastoise here is to soak up damage. And now, max meter full again. I bring in the Venusaur. You can't take any damage while you're getting off this G-Max Vine, Vine Lash move off, right? Whatever the move is, right? You get 3 off no matter what. So you get it. I'm full health. I go back to Blastoise. I go to different Blastoise now because it gives me a little bit more time to stall out. And you can see like 25 remaining, right? You can see there's not a lot of people remaining at this point in time. I forgot how many we had in total here. I think it was like maybe like 19 or so. I don't know. You might be able to see in the beginning of the video, but I forgot it. So this is the second time we tried this, because first time we failed, and I noticed how effective it was because I was doing this kind of by coincidence, just like fiddling around, and I was like 3 of 3 remaining. I was literally the last person and had a sliver of health left on Blastoise. I didn't screen record it because I didn't know what the heck I was doing at the time. But after knowing this strategy, I told the other people in my group to do this too, and it went down way faster. You can see this Venusaur full health the whole time, right? So the whole thing is bring 2 Pokemon that resist stuff, and then one that's actually doing damage. Now, let's say you have 3 Blastoise, right, into a Charizard. Just bring 3 Blastoise, right? You don't have to bring 2 Charizard. It doesn't have to be the same typing. I just happen to only have like limited resources. This is like 4 out of the things that I could even use, right? So obviously other things aren't going to be as good or resisting the Blastoise damage. So that's why I just brought 2 Blastoise. Of course, low budget, right? I think my guess is Gigantamax gets much easier to do if people successfully do a few and then they have more, right? You can see, again, Venusaur, full health, bring it in. And obviously, if I get hit by a flash cannon, it's not going to one-shot me. It's going to do a lot of damage, though. So I just don't want to risk it. Get off all that impactful damage when the max meter's charged, and then swap out. So you see here, there, I actually did get hit by a flash cannon, right, because I couldn't swap off fast enough. But you can see I'm trying to do what I can. And unfortunately, the animation didn't go off there. So I probably could have dodged it, but it would have been close, right? And after that, you can see 7 Pokemon remaining, but I had a few friends of mine that were doing near me, and I was just telling them like what to do as well to make sure that they just don't get knocked out. So the key factors, if you could keep your 2, damage sponges alive, right, the 2 Blastoise or whatever it is for the specific Dynamax battle, then that's most important. Keep them alive, keep them as healthy as possible. I took a few flash cannons here or there, but if you're good about dodging, even better, because the damage you're doing in that time span is not that impactful. It's more so the damage you're getting off of the super effective move, right? So for this trio right now this weekend, it's a little bit like, once you get your first one, it gets a lot easier. But like I said, I did my first Venusaur without having a Gigantamax. I didn't fully know what I was doing, but you could do something similar, right? So this is really how you maximize your damage if you don't want to spend any Stardust, spend any candies on powering stuff up. Now, obviously, I did have to spend candies to evolve the Dynamax Squirtle into Blastoise, but I have a lot of Squirtle candy, so if you're low on candy, obviously don't do it, right? If you don't want to spend the resource, but if you have the candy, great. And of course, I got the Gigantamax Venusaur, and like I said, once you get one, it gets a little bit easier. Obviously, again, this is not a solution to people that don't have a lot of people in their area to do these with, but if you have a dozen or so people, or maybe more, it is much more doable. And again, this is for people that don't want to spend additional resources like myself, right? I'm not going to, like, I got this Gigantamax Blastoise. I'm not going to power it up, right? I might consider powering up if it's like good IVs, like near 100% or something. But for me, it's just not worth the resources, even though you can see I have plenty, right? But yeah, that's a simple trick to maximize your battles. There's all these other things, you could do healing, all the stuff, whatever, etc. Those are all additional strategies, but I think this is like probably the most easy, straightforward way. Hopefully that's useful. This is after the first day, and some people in the world are already finishing up their second day, but hopefully this will be helpful for those trying to do their second day of Gigantamax somewhere else in the world, or for next weekend, because there's Gengar and all that stuff. But anyway, if you have any questions, drop them down below. I'll do my best to answer. I'm not a professional on Gigantamax by any means, but I'm definitely more casual in this aspect of Pokemon Go, and I figured for others that are like me that don't have the resources, don't want to spend them, this could be a quick and easy strategy for that. Anyway, hope you have a great one. Best of luck on your Gigantamax max battles, and I'll catch y'all later. Peace.